Hi, guys. My name is Kyle August, and I'm going to help you manifest your specific person in the absolute quickest and easiest way possible. So, today I wanted to discuss the idea of impatience when it comes to manifestation. Now, your logical mind is always going to try and get you to feel as though you need to take or do some intense action or exert a lot of energy to get what you desire. But really, at the end of the day, all we have to do is feel as if what we desire is already happening, and we're going to see that exact outcome happen outside of us. I'm sure everybody around you watching this video, I'm sure you felt this at some point. This feeling during manifestation of you feel like you want to do something more, right? And then what is the first thing that we usually go towards when we feel this way? We start to looking for the next best technique, or what can I do over here? Can I affirm more? Can I do this and that? But sometimes that actually begins to have a counteractive effect. If we are living in the end, the more we actually try to exert energy or action to get something, the more it actually becomes harder to achieve. And that's the law of reversed effort that I've mentioned in a couple of my other videos. But an easy way to turn this metaphor, because I know you guys really like the metaphors that I have in my videos, an easy way to switch this mindset around, because maybe you're even feeling this way right here and now, is to imagine the idea of, and I've tried to kind of make this a more relatable metaphor. So if it doesn't really make sense, I think it makes sense because the idea is if you are fishing. So imagine you're out fishing, okay? You have the best boat, you have the best lure, you have the best bait. Everything is perfect. Everything is just you're fishing, everything's gone. You cast your lure. What if you were then to feel or think, how can I speed this up? How would that make you feel? Think of fishing. And again, I don't go fishing all the time, just a couple times in my life. But if you're like me, you know fishing is not something you speed up, right? Fishing is something you cast, everything is perfect, and you allow the fish to come to you. This is the same thing that's happening in manifestation. How frustrating and how aggravating would it feel to attempt to speed up fishing? If let's say you were to go out with a professional fisher, I don't know if there are actual professional fishers, but how would they act in that way? If you were like, how can we speed this up? And they would say, well, what are you talking about? Everything is perfect. But this is the feeling that we have during a manifestation that forces us to get impatient, get frustrated, and actually pull ourselves out of the state. But if we can remember that everything is happening perfectly and you are on this perfect path, you will remain in the state and you will see much quicker results way faster. To then go back to the fishing metaphor, what would happen if you actually tried to speed it up? Let's say you tried to move the boat closer to the fish, or cast the lure closer, or move it around to get the fish. What would that do? You would end up actually just scaring the fish away. Now, I'm not saying doing this is going to mess up your manifestation at all, because you could never mess up your manifestation. It's just the idea that it can bump us out of the state, and then we kind of have to return back to that very patient, that very wish-fulfilled state to then see the outcome that we desire. Because again, if you think of the fishing metaphor, it's only kind of you're pushing this fish away, and then you're going to have or wait or receive, put the bait back out there to have them come back. And many people do this during a manifestation, and then it causes them to have their results be that much longer because we're kind of resetting that switch. Now, again, don't think that when I say resetting the switch, I'm not meaning resetting the switch. I'm kind of talking about pulling ourselves out of the state. Because if you remember in my other videos, if you think of manifestation like a GPS, if you take the wrong turn, you didn't reset back at your house, you're just on a new route to your path. But we can kind of think of the idea of trying to rush it or have this urgency as this sense of we're kind of pulling ourselves out of it. But what I mentioned about that theoretically having us take longer is that when we're feeling in the state, when everything's perfect, when you're fishing, you got your bait out, it's kind of the same example, metaphor of a seed. If you're growing a seed, that is growing. It's going perfectly. There's no way to rush it. Everything asked of you is already done. If you know what you desire, you get into that state. Everything that you could ever do is done. You've given it all. You don't have to put in any effort. You don't have to exert any energy. Everything is done. But let's say that we try to speed up, because I guess that's actually a good metaphor to do. Imagine trying to speed up the sprout of a seed. How do you think that's going to go? Is there a way to do it? How frustrating is that to attempt to speed it up? Now, you could attempt to water it more, give it more sunlight, this and that, but sometimes that actually has the opposite effect, like I'm talking about in the same way of fishing. This forceful nature or this urgency, this lack of patience ends up pulling us out of the state, making us feel worried, making us have anxiety. And it's the same type of aggravation or frustration if you are attempting to change your image in a mirror by breaking the mirror. I've definitely talked about that before, but how frustrating can that feel? And you would say, and Neville Goddard discusses this as well, if we are going to plant a seed and then uproot it every time we get worried, how do you expect that thing to grow and flourish? Every time we kind of uproot it, we kind of stunt it. Now, again, don't feel like you 100% could never mess up your manifestation. But pulling yourself out of the state can have this stunting effect in your external reality. But it's definitely not messing it up. You're not going to restart. You're not going to screw everything up. But I also wanted, so if you're still watching, perfect, I wanted to include a example of how this specific idea has helped someone in one of my coaching sessions. So this same idea, I think I even made a video about it, how whenever you are think of planting a seed. When you plant it, it's growing, it's improving, it's getting better, and you don't have to look at it, you don't have to monitor it, you don't have to do anything, and it's going to be occurring. The same thing is happening with your manifestation. Things, events, actions are happening behind the scenes that are pushing you and your specific person together. In this same way, and having the same faith, someone in one of my coaching sessions actually, it was an ex that they were manifesting. And again, I think it's a video I made, so if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. But more or less, they wanted their ex to change to a certain type of person. And we talked about kind of altering how your specific person is going to act towards you. But they wanted them to basically act differently. And to make a super long, you can go check out the video if you want, but to make that long story very short, their specific person actually showed up in their reality and said, write me a list of things you want me to do for our relationship. Now, if that isn't very blunt for your reality to kind of tell you like everything's going perfect, your specific person can be whoever you want. I don't know what is. And the same idea can happen, but it fully came from this total faith, this idea that if you're fishing, if you are planting a seed, it's going to happen perfectly. You don't have to put in any effort. You don't have to perform any actions to make it so. It's going to be automatic. If you have the correct bait, that's just feeling into that wish-fulfilled state with the fishing. If you cast your lure out and you have the perfect bait, 100%, the fish are going to come. That's how it is. If you feel yourself into that wish-fulfilled state, your manifestation is going to come. I can guarantee it. Now, hopefully, I'm not believing in you more than you believe in yourself. But if I am, I want you to think more like how I am and know that you 100% can have your specific person. But if you ever find yourself in that state of impatience, in that state of urgency, pull yourself out and remember that it exactly is like planting a seed, exactly like fishing, whatever metaphor you kind of want to do, because I feel like there's a billion different ways that we could basically visualize this, but everything is happening perfectly. You don't have to do anything. It's really gonna kind of go against that logical thought process, but if you can push above and beyond that, or just, I think, kind of satisfying that logical mind with the idea of a seed. You planted the seed, there's nothing you need to do. Neville Goddard talks about this, Joseph Murphy talks about this. Your manifestation is absolutely coming towards you. Now, a lot of people ask the idea of like, when should I, because I've been asked this before, and it's definitely, I don't want to talk about it in this video because I want to make another video of like, when should, if I'm not seeing results, when should I stop manifesting? And I'll tell you a little hint. You're not going to stop manifesting because you're going to get exactly what you desire. But I really want to save that for another video. So if you guys like this video today, if it helped you out, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to ask me a question, leave it in the comments below, or I would say reach out to me on my website, kyleaugustcoaching.com. I'll put it right here. If you guys want to check out my TikTok, it's Manifestation Man. But again, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I absolutely love bringing you guys the absolute best knowledge when it comes to manifesting your specific person. But I'll see you guys next time.